Morning. Good morning, everyone. Shall we begin this morning by standing as we're able and singing together? Will you join me?
Good morning. Welcome to First Unitarian Church of Portland, where we put love at the center of everything we do. It's a hot summer day out there, so we're extra grateful you came to cool down with us. Whether you're here in person or tuning in online, we're here to lift each other up, have each other's backs, and take action to make the world more just. We're not perfect. We're always growing and striving with love at the center. And if there are new people here today, we're especially glad you're here. Welcome. You can come join the Welcome Circle right over here in the North Gallery, right after the service for an opportunity to meet other newcomers as well as some leaders in our congregation, or stop by the First Connections table in Fuller Hall, located just below us, where we're going to be having social hour for the entire congregation. And if you're new to Portland, new to First U, perhaps you're returning or have been away for a while and still think of yourselves as new, join us, no matter how long you've called Portland home. Whether you're unpacking boxes or rediscovering the city, or been here long enough to know where the good food carts are, you're invited. Today in the Buchanan room, excuse me, I'm saying that all wrong. Today in the Buchanan wing, room B102, we're throwing a celebration of our city and making new friends. So let's connect and get to know each other. And on Thursday this week, the Democracy in Action team will be hosting an all-church event. That's on July 17th, to take part in a nationwide day of action to decry authoritarianism and honor civil rights leader John Lewis. Please join our fellow congregants on the front steps of Elliott Chapel at 4 p.m. this Thursday, and we'll walk 2 blocks to the Yamhill Street Bridge overpass to share messages of resistance for travelers on I-405. Now, y'all know the forecast is going to be hot, so you're encouraged to take the necessary precautions to keep yourself safe, and we will have water available for everyone. And it seems like a perfect time for us to meet and greet our neighbors, so let's do that right now. It's good to see you all moving around and meeting people. As a symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith, we will light the chalice with these words. We are Unitarian Universalists. We light this chalice in faith, in hope, and in love.
Words of Anne Hillman. We are all on a journey together to the center of the universe. Look deep into yourself, into another. It is to a center which is everywhere. That is the holy journey. First, you need only look, notice, and honor the radiance of everything about you. Play in this universe. Tend all these shining things around you, the smallest plant, the creatures and objects in your care. Be gentle and nurture. Listen. As we experience and accept all that we really are, we grow in care. We begin to embrace others as ourselves and learn to live as one among many. It's good to be together in worship this morning.
Every voice
you join me now in a responsive reading by Walt Whitman? Afoot and light-hearted, I take to the open road, healthy, free, the world before me. Henceforth, I ask not good fortune. I myself am good fortune, strong and content. I travel the open road. I inhale great draughts of space. The east and the west are mine, and the north and the south are mine. It seems beautiful to me. I can repeat over to men and women, you have done such good to me. I would do the same to you. Whoever you are, come travel with me. However sweet these laid-up stores, however convenient this dwelling, we cannot remain here. However sheltered this port, and however calm these waters, we must not anchor here. Together, the inducements shall be greater. We will sail pathless and wild seas. We will go where winds blow, waves dash, and the Yankee clipper speeds by under full sail. Forward after the great companions, and to belong to them, they too are on the road. Onward to that which is endless, as it was beginningless, to undergo much, tramps of day, rests of nights, to see nothing anywhere but what you may reach it and pass it, to look up or down, no road, but it stretches and waits for you. To know the universe itself as a road, has many roads, has roads for traveling souls. Let's sing together now our doxology, Spirit of Life.
This summer, we're sharing our offerings with Unitarian Universalist organizations that support our wider faith community. Today, our plate collection will go to DRUM, Diverse and Revolutionary UU Multicultural Ministries. That's DRUM. It is a Unitarian Universalist ministry led by people of color, dedicated to anti-racism and to multicultural transformation within our faith. They bring together lay people and religious professionals to create an anti-racist, anti-oppressive, and inclusive Unitarian Universalist association while supporting youth, young adults, and families of color. To give electronically, please use the QR code displayed on the screen or found on the yellow slip in the seat backs nearby. And if you prefer to give in person, an usher will be by shortly to collect donation. Thank you so much for your generosity. We also make space in our church service each week to name the milestones in our life. A reminder that pastoral support is available from our ministers and lay ministers here in the church. Each week you can light a candle of intention in each one of our galleries, and you can also offer prayer intentions to be held by our ministers and lay ministers throughout the week. You can write those down and place them in the urns, or send them to prayer@firstunitarianportland.org. Some concerns. Member Barbara Lacombe has been in intensive care this week at Legacy Emmanuel Hospital following a long surgery on Monday. Barbara fell in June and has been dealing with the results of that fall since. Right now, she is not up to receiving visits or calls, but would appreciate cards and good thoughts. Barbara is part of our peace group here at the church. And member Brock Turner this morning. Brock's uncle, Mark Palin, died July 6th at the age of 78. Brock is back in Washington, D.C. area this weekend for a funeral. Mark was professor of computer science at George Mason University in Fairfax, Virginia. And a joy. Member Brian Seltzers shares the joy that his daughter, Tara Setzler, I think I'm saying that wrong, Setzler, who grew up in the church, was joined in marriage to Heather Hargrove yesterday, Saturday, July 12th at Skamania Lodge in the Hood River area. That's fun. Now join me in prayer. Spirit of life and love, we gather together in this warm summer moment, grateful for the sunlight and the gentle breeze. May our hearts be open, our minds at peace, and our spirits refreshed as we seek to share kindness, compassion, and wisdom from one another in this world. In this season of warmth and sunlight, may we find time to spend outdoors, reconnecting with the earth and its quiet wisdom. Let us find peace in the beauty all around us. Now let's take a few minutes for some silent meditation. Please remain seated for our next hymn, The Lone Wild Bird. a poem by David White, The Journey. Above the mountains, the geese turn into the light again, painting their black silhouettes on an open sky. Sometimes everything has to be inscribed across the heavens so you can find the one line already written inside you. Sometimes it takes a great sky to find that small, bright, indescribable wedge of freedom in your own heart. Sometimes, with the bones of the black sticks left when the fire has gone out, someone has written something new in the ashes of your life. We are not leaving, we are arriving.
Thank you, Garrett. Thank you, choir. Our spiritual theme this month is adventure, appropriate for summer. This is, after all, the season when lots of us do find ourselves out of our usual routines, seeking fun, travel, and, yes, adventure, a time when we might stretch our proverbial wings in all kinds of directions. And yet, as I contemplated this theme of adventure, I will confess I did not choose it. I found myself pausing a bit. If I'm honest, I may be more of a stay-at-home and contemplate things kind of person. Now, I think that's probably true in general, but I wonder if it's especially true at this particular time in history. Now, let me say something about that. Chaos is the word I find myself using a lot these days. Chaos. Just so much is at stake, just so much that seems to be broken around us. And those who are in charge seem to not only nurture chaos, but thrive on it. It seems to be the driving force in so many things around us these days. And maybe it's that in that context that the impulse with chaos comes distraction and confusion as well. That's true in me, and it brings out the contemplative side. I don't feel particularly adventuresome sometimes in that context. My impulse is to want to pull back from so much of it. And that may be why Walt Whitman's words we shared in the responsive reading earlier speak to me. For Whitman, life is an adventure, a call to take risks, to see nothing but opportunity around us. But first of all, a call to be present with the world as it is and as it ought to be. Now, Whitman did not live at an easy time in history. He lived during the Civil War when relations in our country, we know, were nothing but easy. He did what he could in those times. Whitman rolled up his sleeves and took care of those many casualties from the Civil War. He was not afraid to be open about who he loved and when society may or may not have reflected those preferences. In his writing, he was able to imagine a world as he wanted to be, but at the same time recognizing the way it was. Could it be that Whitman has something to say to us in these times that we are in, these times of chaos, these times of fear? I don't know about you, but sometimes the state of affairs in our country can leave me feeling a little paralyzed. I don't quite know where to start, what to do. Every day seems to bring some new injustice, some kind of brutality, some new kind of grievance. And that almost seems to be part of some strategy. Before there's time to process one thing, the next thing comes along, one thing after another, and they just seem to start to pile up. Makes me think back years ago when our country began one war or another. To be honest, I can't remember exactly which one, when the so-called shock and awe strategy was named. Overwhelm your enemy and keep them off balance as much as you possibly can. The thing is that that was with the so-called enemy whenever it was, but now it feels as if it's on the American citizens right now. Every day seems to bring one more thing that shocks and sets us back. With time and with repetition, I think we get worn out, and we may lose sight of all that is at stake. We may lose sight of all the harm that is being done around us. And what happens is that we can get isolated from one another. We see ourselves not for what we have in common, but for what we are striving for together, but what separates us, what we are opposed to. In a world where greed and graft are considered virtues all too often, it can be hard to give attention to how it is we are all related together, looking towards some mutual goal, as the people around us simply become the opposition. And perhaps that's where Whitman might offer us an invitation. His words, "Whoever you are, come travel with me. However sheltered this port, and however calm these waters, we must not anchor here." Most of us, I think, have the privilege of making choices about how we live, who we are with. But can that comforts of that privilege also bring isolation? Do we want to protect that comfort and pull back, kind of putting ourselves in a protective mode? I think we know that in times of threat that we are called to engage all the more, to find ways to get out of those comfort zones. And sometimes that may be easier than at other times. Those of us who have had the privilege of traveling know how it can be to be pulled out of our comfort zones. I remember my first trip overseas many years ago to a country where English was not the primary language. I traveled to Vietnam and landed in Ho Chi Minh City. I didn't know the language. I did not know anyone there. The sights and the sounds and the smells were all amazing and different and pretty overwhelming. I remember the seemingly endless number of people on bicycles going as fast as they could in all directions, and just the utter chaos that seemed to live around me. And I remember how overwhelmed I felt, and how surprised I was when I said yes to an invitation to get on the back of one of those bikes to get me where I needed to go. And suddenly, there I am in the middle of it all, going with the flow, that in that moment there really wasn't much sense of choice, but there was little time, and all of a sudden, a certain order seemed to emerge out of all of that chaos. With all of that, suddenly I felt as if I had truly arrived in this place from a very foreign place. Now, looking back on that all these years later, the motto of the Outward Bound Wilderness program comes to mind. Sometimes the only way out is through. The only way out is through. So putting ourselves in a new place can have merit. Sometimes life has a way of sweeping us up and calling us forth. Now, the change in environment does not necessarily mean some grand adventure. It may be something much closer to home, maybe something that simply takes us to a place where we haven't been before, or maybe it's taking someone with us and showing them something new, something from our life, to see things through their eyes and for them to see things through our eyes. Still, it's easy to take for granted all kinds of things when what's around us feels like the same. Truth be told, it may be easier to have perspective when it comes to some grand trip or some new and adventurous place. Truth is, it may be hard to see the invitations when it's something close to us that we're around every single day. What's familiar will often be our default mode. And I think that somewhere in all of this is that invitation. Now, Whitman would have us find companions and adventure no matter where we are, to see just this present moment as an invitation and to say yes to that invitation. In these days, that might even seem like a subtle act of resistance. Now, I need to preach to myself here. Truth be told, I don't see myself as a risk taker. All too often, I do prefer those comforts of home. I prefer the contents. I prefer to turn to my own routine day by day by day. Now, each of us comes out of a story about who we are, where we have been, where we are going. That story includes the stories from the families we come from, the lessons they taught us, the personalities that we come to have. We've come to embody all kinds of experiences and stories, our gifts and our hurts. We bring all of that into how it is respond to this present moment we are in. And perhaps it's especially in times like the ones we are in, when chaos and disruption seem to rule in so many places, when there's even a sense of threat to imagine what it is the world is asking of us, to be grounded in such a way that allows us to be present with the world and at the same time to want to imagine how it can be different, to imagine how we can put ourselves on that metaphorical open road with the chance to meet other travelers on the way, a chance to get away from what is familiar and habitual and to imagine what might be possible. The writer M. Scott Peck says that this stepping forth may be contrary to our own instincts. He says most of us want to stay where we are, to not seek out new and challenging experiences, to remain what may even be ruts of the accustomed. But he says that to venture forth, on the other hand, to deliberately encounter the different and the foreign and unexpected, as we do when we get out of those comfort zones, that can be part of a strange yearning to enlarge our scope and our minds. He describes that impulse as an impulse to experience a holy activity. Peck says that when we take risks and go beyond what's comfortable, we find what he calls a journey towards holiness. Now, it's easy at this point to go to the exotic places we find ourselves going, but that may not necessarily be what we need to do. It may be we don't need to travel all that far from where it is we are. If you are a city person, might it be some little way of getting out of town or in the country, or maybe a different part of town? It isn't so much the distance as it is about the intention we place ourselves in. Maybe it's people, maybe it's places, maybe it's just simply changing our routine a bit. The point may not be so much where, but the mindfulness that comes when we challenge ourselves out of that most familiar place, when we try to make for ourselves some space from what it is may be most familiar to imagine something different. The Spirit, I think, asks us to be open, to be available to those promptings, to follow that yearning and be open. But sometimes we have to first make that space. We have to place an intention of where it is we might want to be. In this case, the most important thing is at least to imagine ourselves on that proverbial open road and to take one metaphorical step and then another step. Our quest for meaning takes us to places that we don't necessarily expect. We go from what's familiar to what's unfamiliar, from something that feels comfortable and safe to a place where we're not so sure. We need to allow ourselves to go to those places where our assumptions get challenged. It's here where we're open to see other things and ourselves in some new ways. We enter liminal space, a space where we're not in those usual environments, but something different. We connect with others in that space and somehow hopefully come to see things a little differently. We come back to where we've been with some renewed perspective. Things look different and maybe are different. It doesn't mean we have to go far away to discover that. It may be the lessons that present themselves right in front of us. Our job is to pay attention and to be open. There's a Hasidic story about the child of a rabbi who used to wander in the woods. At first, his father let him wander wherever he wanted, but over time, the father became concerned. The woods, after all, were dangerous. The father did not know what might lurk there. He decided to discuss the matter with his child. One day, he took him aside and said, "You know, I've noticed that each day you walk into the woods. I wonder, why do you go there?" The boy said to his father, "I go there to find God." "That's a very good thing," the father replied gently. "I am glad that you're searching for God, but my child, don't you know that God is the same everywhere?" "Yes," the boy answered, "but I'm not the same everywhere." The spiritual quest constantly asks us to who it is we are in relation to the holy. That is one of the eternal questions, and we live in times when we have our share of distractions from that. Sometimes it's in the midst of chaos and wars, in the midst of so much that would have us just feeling off balance. We're asked how it is we are able to be in this world we are in. But the first part is the willingness to make that space in our lives, to put ourselves in situations that may not be altogether comfortable. The world these days is full of disappointments, full of challenges. To put ourselves in places where our assumptions might get challenged, maybe we see the world with a little more nuance, with a little different perspective. And in doing that, maybe we bring a fuller self to the party. Perhaps as we are able to move out from our own place of fullness, we may find something new about who it is we are being asked to be in this present moment. Words again of Whitman. To see nothing anywhere but what you may reach it and pass it. To look up or down, no road, but it stretches and waits for you. To know the universe itself as a road, has many roads, has roads for traveling souls. May all of us, wherever we find ourselves, near or far, find ourselves open to that mystery. May we be open to what that journey holds. Through it all, grant us courage. Through it all, grant us connections, mindful that others are with us on the journey. And may we know that love and joy as we journey on this path, may it carry us to places we never even imagined we would go. So be it. Amen. Let's sing together now, friends, our closing hymn. Let's sing together, Blue Boat Home. Let's rise. May your journey lead you, whether it's near or far, to some place that's unexpected. May you be surprised, and through it all, may you be blessed. This is the day you and I are given, so let us rejoice in it and be glad. Go in peace. Practice love. Amen.